Hello, and welcome to Kybercodex. Today we've got another Neopixel Lightsaber demo review and overview. We're going to be looking at a replica of Shin Hati's lightsaber from the Ahsoka series from my partners over at X-Tech. Full disclaimer before we go any farther into the video, I am an authorized vendor for X-Tech's hilts in North America. This is from my personal collection. It is not from my stock or inventory. It was not sent to me by my supplier as a sponsored video item or any sort of promotion or payment for an advertisement. This is my Shin Hati lightsaber from my own collection. It was weathered by me, the config on it is by me, and everything I have to say about it is going to be, by and large, my own opinion about the saber. So without any further ado, here's a good look at the hilt. Pretty nice. I enjoy it quite a bit. But before we actually talk about the hilt, I'll show you the packaging it arrived in. It's a nice box with a little magnetic latch, good fitted padding. The saber came partially disassembled since the guard ring here is a little too tall to fit in the box. And it also included a 36-inch mid-grade Neopixel blade. And the box has this really nice, convenient magnetic latch on it that I really enjoy quite a bit personally. And that box is also the same packaging that this will arrive in if you order it from my site using the standard free shipping option. There are some options for some upgraded boxes, but even the free shipping option gets you the nice black padded box with the magnetic latch that I just showed you. So taking a look at the hilt itself, the emitter, the guard, and the pommel actually are as they come, brand new from X-Tech. Those parts come weathered. And then this grip section here comes in a satin anodized aluminum. Not in a weathered finish. So I did this by applying Birchwood Casey aluminum black, some black enamel paint from Tamiya, and some old rust dry pigment from Vallejo. I used some sandpaper and some files on this greebly, and I soaked these set screws in aluminum black, and I soaked the buttons in aluminum black, although that has come off with handling. I don't know if you can see the blade plug here. I actually dismantled the blade plug, took this center pin out and hit it with 2 or 3 different applications of Birchwood Casey brass black, and then took the stainless steel ring off here and hit that with a blowtorch to get some heat staining. I went for a nice like reddish purple color, not a straight up blue. I felt that that really matched the dark color of the emitter a little bit better. But yeah, otherwise emitter, guard, pommel, D-ring, exactly as you would get it if you ordered it new. I just dirtied up this midsection to match it up a little more, and dirtied up the blade plug to match it a little more. All pretty easy stuff you can do yourself at home. Also something I can do as part of my mail-in weathering service if that's not something you're interested in doing yourself. So to the saber itself, let's take a look. So we've got 2 buttons, power auxiliary. We have 2 retention screws to hold your 1-inch blade. And then if you unscrew the pommel cap, you will see that we've got some accent pixels over the speaker enclosure. Saber's got a good weight to it. It's nicely anodized all over, so you don't really have to worry too much about dinging up the finish unless you are intentionally trying to. It's good size and weight. It feels good in the hand. Overall, I really enjoy the feel of it. The emitter is super deep, like all the way down to where the guard is, so you've got 2.5 inches of blade depth maybe. Holds blades very solidly, it's very nice. I mean, I guess really the only thing I could even remotely say detracts from this at all is that this section from the bottom of the anodized aluminum grip up to this line, or maybe this line, no, this line, is supposed to be white, and then this is supposed to be black. But literally you could fix that with a roll of painter's tape and 2 cans of spray paint. It's not a really big deal. I actually like this look a lot. I think it matches my TXQ Balin skull a little better this way. But I definitely would not have been opposed to painting it if I really wanted screen accuracy on this one. Otherwise, though, the details of the actual, casting in pieces are quite good. They've got the 2 greeblies only on one side of the pommel. They've got the black matte anodized bar greeblies on opposite sides, parallel with the D-ring. They do have the greebly on the neck here, and it's held in with 2 hex bolts instead of being where the tactile switches are on a lot of other Shin Hati replicas. And then I think a large part of why they did not paint the grips or color anodize them was so that they could kind of stealthily hide the buttons. And that's totally fine by me. I think that it actually is a lot more comfortable to have your buttons like this as opposed to one here and one opposite. So that totally works for me. I really personally have no issue with the color change on this or the button placement. It may not be for everybody, but that does not take away from my personal enjoyment of this hilt. I like it quite a bit. Okay, so to get to the chassis, you kind of have to do a full teardown of the hilt. And to actually, from a turned off, no blade state like this, you will need 3 different sizes of Allen wrench to get it all the way open and tore down and get the blade plug out. So, you'll start by unscrewing the emitter. This is just press fit in between the emitter and the neck so that you can freely clock it and make sure it's always oriented properly. Once again, the pommel just screws out. And now we have to take these 2 little hex bolts out. And now we need to go down to a smaller Allen wrench. Now this one, don't back it out all the way and remove it. It's just the retention screw for the chassis, but back it out farther than you might think you need to. There's some 3D printed detail on the chassis, and it will get caught on there. You'll be able to pull it a little bit and then get stuck, so back it out farther than you think you need. And then you can just slide the chassis out. And then make sure to keep this retention screw facing up, buttons facing down, because the chassis is what retains the buttons in here. They'll just fall right out if I let this roll. So, here is our Proffieboard chassis, 2 buttons setup with an internally retained lit Neopixel PCB, kill switch, 18650 battery, 24mm speaker, and 3 accent pixels. This is the X-Tech standard chassis for Proffieboard, so this will fit most of the 2-button sabers that X-Tech sells that come in a Proffieboard configuration. So if you get one of those empty, there's a good chance this one will fit in there. All right, got my trusty 18650 battery wrapped up with a custom wrap from KR Sabers loaded in here. And let's just take a look at some of the detail on this chassis before we boot it up and reinstall it. So we got "May the Force be with you" hidden in the greeblies on one side. You got your positive and negative indicators for your battery polarity, and a nice little window just to pop your thumb in, push the battery out. Easy access for your SD card and your USB port. Then the Jedi Order emblem hidden up in the greeblies on the other side. Then you got your kill switch down here, and roughly where your retention screw goes. It will vary hilt to hilt, so sometimes it's just friction fit on the chassis. So let's hit that kill switch, turn it on, and take a look at it.
You will regret this decision. Let's go. Rock.
This is a cool blade style. Blade of Talzin from Fett's style editor, if anybody wants that.
Sokatano. Bo-Katan sent me. Come on, Snips. Ahsoka. father.
More of that Blade of Talzin font, but with the V1 version sound font, so Prion. So overall, I mean, I've quite enjoyed this saber. Like I said, the blade stability's great on it. It doesn't weigh a ton. It's not like I'm lugging around a brick on my belt or in my hand. Detail-wise, it's fairly accurate, and painting the inaccurate colors would be incredibly easy if that did bother you. Construction is very sturdy. It's got a nice anodized finish. The weathering on the pommel, the emitter, and the guard is all very nice. The acrylic, stainless steel, and brass blade plug is pretty high quality. I mean, for function, I have absolutely zero complaints about this hilt. And aesthetically, I personally, like I said, am not bothered by the inaccurate color here. If you are, easy fix. So I want to say like 8.5, 9 out of 10 if I had to give this one a rating. Like solidly in the very good range. I mean, honestly, if I were to give any sort of feedback to the company on a revision of this saber in the future, the only thing construction-wise that I would actually change is maybe just move this set screw hole so that it sits in here, so that you don't have to take these bolts and this greebly off to get to the chassis. You know, having to have one size of retention screw, or one size of Allen wrench to get to that retention screw, and then another size to get to the ones for the blade, is already kind of a hassle compared to some sabers. So needing a third one to get these greeblies off to get to that retention screw on the backside in the first place can be a little cumbersome. But other than that, I absolutely adore this saber. It's probably my favorite saber to duel with in my collection right now, just because of how deep the emitter is, how good the blade stability is. And, I mean, let's be honest, the spiky emitter is really intimidating looking. It's a fun saber. I have a really good time with it. So yeah, I mean, final verdict, I really enjoy it. I would recommend it if you're looking for a good, high-quality Shin Hati replica. Personally, it hit the two things that I really, really wanted in a Shin lightsaber that I was being hard-pressed to find at the same time in other replicas. I wanted a 1-inch blade and a 2-button setup. I was finding a lot with a 1-inch blade and a 1-button setup, or a 2-button setup and a 7/8" blade. So this fit my needs perfectly, and I've had a blast with it. It was really fun to weather. I keep going back and adding a little bit more weathering to it all the time. It's fun to weather. These little grooves hold paint and hold dry pigment really good. It makes it a different weathering experience than just using chemical weathering on a hilt, which is what I predominantly do with other weathering that I've done. And it's really, price-wise, not that bad. So yeah, if you're interested in this at all, swing by my site and check it out. I'll have a link to the website in the description. I'll have a link to the sale page for this specific saber in the description. And I will have a discount code in the description that you can use on your first order. So yeah, once again, thank you for stopping by. This was Kyber Codex. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and may the Force be with you.